The portal opened with a low, eerie hum, its swirling vortex pulling the travelers through time. As the rush of wind settled and the light faded, they landed with a soft thud on the ground. The air was thick, heavy with a strange, almost oppressive energy. The desert stretched endlessly before them, and in the distance, the silhouette of an ancient pyramid loomed against the orange sky. The wind stirred the sand, creating an unsettling sound that seemed to whisper ancient secrets. They weren't just in any time period, they were in the heart of ancient Egypt, a time where legends and curses intertwined. Max glanced around, uneasy. "Where are we?" he asked, his voice tense. Looking around, the landscape confirmed what they feared. The distant pyramids, it was Egypt, but something felt off. This wasn't a place from a history book. It was alive, with a strange, hidden power lurking beneath its surface. "This isn't just about time travel," one of them murmured. "We've come to the source of something far darker than we imagined. A curse, one said to guard the secrets of a lost dynasty." A rumble echoed in the distance, a warning of what lay ahead. The air grew even heavier, and the travelers steeled themselves. They had no choice but to push forward, or the ancient curse might find them first. The group pressed forward, their footsteps the only sound against the eerie silence of the desert. As they approached the pyramid, its towering presence seemed to watch them, imposing and ancient. A thick stone door stood before them, adorned with strange symbols and intricate carvings. It felt like the entrance to something far more dangerous than they had anticipated. Zane stepped closer, examining the carvings. "This isn't just decoration. These symbols, they mean something. I think they're instructions for getting inside." Still on edge, glanced around nervously. "You don't think this is a trap, do you?" Arya's eyes narrowed. "Could be, but we don't have a choice. We need to find the key to escape before the curse catches up with us." Zane ran his fingers over the stone, tracing each symbol carefully. "I think this puzzle is our first test. It looks like we need to solve it in the right sequence." He paused. "If we don't, we might activate something we're not prepared for." Max swallowed hard. "We're already in too deep, aren't we?" With a deep breath, Zane started pressing the symbols in what he believed to be the correct order. As each symbol was pressed, the stone door shuddered, but nothing happened at first. It was only when the last symbol was activated that the ground beneath them trembled. The door slowly began to open, revealing a dark, narrow passage. But just as they thought they'd succeeded, a deep rumble shook the pyramid. A low, mechanical sound echoed from within, and a hidden mechanism triggered the release of a series of sharp, deadly traps. Arrows shot out from the walls, narrowly missing them as they scrambled to dodge. "We need to get inside. Fast," Arya shouted, pulling them into the opening just as the arrows stopped. The door slammed shut behind them, cutting off the immediate danger. But the sound of something else, something much darker, began to echo down the corridor. It was the sound of footsteps, heavy, deliberate, and closing in. Inside the pyramid, the air grew thick and musty. Their footsteps echoed in the narrow, winding corridor as they moved cautiously, eyes darting around for any more traps. The only light came from the faint glow of their flashlights, barely illuminating the stone walls adorned with more cryptic symbols. Max wiped the sweat off his brow. "I don't like this. It's too quiet. No one's ever come this far." "I can feel it. We're walking into something." Arya nodded, her face grim. "We've crossed the point of no return. We need to find the source of this curse before it's too late." Always the optimist, tried to lift their spirits. "We've solved the first challenge. We'll figure this out. Let's just keep moving." But as they ventured deeper, the atmosphere grew heavier, almost suffocating. The walls seemed to close in on them, and every footstep felt like it was being watched. Suddenly, they came to a halt. Before them stood a massive stone door, unlike anything they had seen before. It was covered in intricate carvings of pharaohs and animals, with a large, golden lock at its center. Zane approached the door, running his hands over the symbols. "This is it," he said, excitement in his voice. We're getting closer to unlocking the curse. I think this is the key. Solve this, and we'll be one step closer to stopping whatever's behind all of this. Max scowled, looking around nervously. I don't like how this feels. Something's off. Ignoring his warning, Zane took out the map they had found earlier. It seemed to match the symbols on the door perfectly. We need to align these symbols in the right order. It's a puzzle. If we solve it, we'll get through. Work together, trying different combinations, the pressure mounting as time passed. Each wrong move sent a deep, ominous rumble through the pyramid. The air grew warmer, and an unsettling sense of urgency filled the room. Just as Zane aligned the last symbol, the door creaked open, revealing a large chamber beyond. The walls were lined with ancient relics, gold, and jewels, but it wasn't the treasure that caught their attention. At the center of the room stood a massive stone sarcophagus, intricately designed with images of a powerful pharaoh. Above it, an inscription in an ancient language glowed with a faint, eerie light. Arya stepped forward cautiously. This is it. This is the heart of the curse. Suddenly, the ground trembled again, and the air seemed to crackle with a dark energy. The inscription on the sarcophagus began to shift, its letters twisting into a new form. A deep, haunting voice echoed through the room, sending a chill down their spines. You have awakened the curse. Prepare to face the wrath of the Pharaoh. A massive stone door slammed shut behind them, sealing their only exit. The walls began to shift, and strange, glowing hieroglyphics illuminated the room. The curse was alive, and the pyramid had just begun to fight back. Max turned to the others, panic in his eyes. What do we do now? We've triggered something worse. Arya's face tightened with determination. We solve the puzzle. We don't have a choice. Suddenly, the chamber began to fill with sand, rising rapidly. The clock was ticking. They had to find a way out, or they'd be buried alive. The stakes had never been higher. The sand poured in relentlessly, rising fast as the walls of the chamber began to shift. The trio was running out of time. The pressure was suffocating, the sand swirling around them, making it harder to think. Their breaths came in sharp gasps as the sand crept up their ankles, then their knees. We need to figure this out. Now, Zane shouted over the deafening roar of the sand. The puzzle, there has to be a way to stop it. Arya's eyes darted around the room, looking for anything that could help them. The glowing hieroglyphs above the sarcophagus had begun to pulsate with a rhythm, like a heartbeat. She could feel it. There was something familiar about the sequence. Zane, Arya shouted. The map, the symbols on the wall, are they the same as the ones on the sarcophagus? Zane grabbed the map from his bag, scanning it quickly. They match. The symbols, they're the key. If we can align them, we might be able to stop the sand. The sand was now waist-high, and panic was starting to set in. They had only moments before it would consume them. Max grabbed a nearby lever, attempting to pull it, but it wouldn't budge. We don't have time for that, Max yelled, his voice frantic. Hurry! Arya's fingers flew over the glowing symbols on the sarcophagus, matching them with the map. There were only a few remaining adjustments to make, and she hoped they weren't too late. The ground shook again, as if warning them, but she didn't falter. Got it, she shouted as the final symbol clicked into place. The room fell silent for a split second, and then, with a tremendous rumble, the sand began to halt its relentless rise. The glowing hieroglyphs above the sarcophagus flickered and then went dark. Slowly, the chamber's stone walls stopped shifting, and the door to the chamber cracked open, allowing a rush of fresh air in. They had done it. The immediate danger was over. The curse was momentarily broken. But as they began to catch their breath, something shifted in the darkness beyond the open door. Arya's heart skipped a beat. Something was waiting for them, lurking just out of sight. They had solved the puzzle, but the true curse was far from over. As the last of the sand slowly receded, the group cautiously stepped away from the sarcophagus. Their hearts still pounded in their chests, their minds racing. They had narrowly escaped a gruesome fate, but the presence in the shadows remained, haunting them with its unseen force. Max was the first to speak. That was too close. We need to get out of here before something worse happens. Zane wiped the sweat from his brow. Still shaken. We're not out of the woods yet. There's something else down there. He pointed towards the open door, which now revealed an eerie glow emanating from deep within the pyramid. I can feel it. The curse isn't broken, it's just waiting. Arya stared into the darkness beyond the door. The temperature dropped suddenly, and the oppressive energy that had filled the room seemed to grow stronger. There's more to this place than we realized. We only solved part of the puzzle. The curse is tied to something much greater. Max clenched his fists. We don't have time for another riddle or trap. We need to leave now, before we're trapped forever. But as he turned to head for the exit, the ground beneath them began to tremble once more. The walls of the pyramid shook violently, as if the entire structure was coming alive. Dust and debris fell from above, and the ominous, deep voice of the Pharaoh echoed once more, louder and more threatening. You cannot escape what you have awakened. The voice boomed. The curse will follow you beyond time itself. No one can break the bonds of the Pharaoh. The door slammed shut with a deafening crash, trapping them inside. The air thickened, and the shadows seemed to stretch and twist as if they were alive, reaching for them. In the distance, they could hear the unmistakable sound of footsteps, slow, deliberate, and growing closer. Arya, Max, and Zane looked at each other, their faces pale. They had thought they were free, but the pyramid was not done with them yet. And in that moment, as the footsteps grew louder and the shadows closed in, the screen went black. Can we escape the ancient curse? Or are we doomed to face its wrath forever? To find out, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. This adventure is far from over.